Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday. Mitch Harper and Nate Slack with you here on August 22nd. KSL News Time, 12:54 p.m. here from Broadcast House in Salt Lake City. So earlier this week, BYU football fall camp, Kelly Poppinga spoke to the media, the first-year defensive coordinator. Very excited for K-Pop as the DC. I think this is going to be a really good thing for BYU football, having K-Pop as the D coordinator. And I've always been excited over just the thought of the convergence of Kalani's defensive background, which K-Pop has learned under the last 3 years with Jay Hill, but also his background with Bronco Mendenhall, because up until K-Pop's return to the staff, there was not coaches really from the Bronco era that have worked with this program. So I think it's a very cool collision and see this new look BYU defense. It's got its core identity from past years, but what new wrinkles does Kelly Poppinga bring to the defense? I think it'll be a fascinating deal. And, you know, one thing, and he's said these type of comments before in the past, but he's got some strong commentary when it comes to sacks. And, you know, Keanu Tanavasa, BYU defensive tackle, he stated a goal that he has is for a team, is for the team to have 50 sacks this year. And K-Pop was asked about that, and if that's the goal of the team, to have 50 sacks, and K-Pop kind of scoffed at that.
Oh, that's a lot of sacks. I think the most I've ever had in a season at Virginia. I think we broke the school record 2 years in a row in like 2019 and 2020. I think we were like 45 or 46 one year, and then we were one more the next year. And so, like, I think anything in the 40s is exceptional. If you're in the 50s, that's like record-breaking right there, right? So I just think, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I tell everybody this. Sacks is one of the most overrated. Guys, we had one of the best defenses in the country in 2024, and we had 10 sacks on the year. So that just goes to tell you, it doesn't matter. Sacks are awesome. Trust me, I want 50 sacks, but I also want to not give up. I want to give up less than 19 points. And if we do that, then we're going to be in great shape to be able to play great defense. So if that means we have 50 sacks and we give up 19 points or less, or we have 10 sacks and 19 points or less, I want to not give up points. That is the key to this whole, keep the points off the scoreboard. That is the purpose of this game. And if we have 50 sacks and we lose, 5 of 7 games, then that's a problem, right? So I just think there's that fine line of getting so excited about sacks all the time. And, we got to lock in on, actually what's important, which is the scoreboard.
Oh, Mitch, I love sacks. What's he talking about? I love sacks. He was on a team in 2006. This is like a highlight that sticks in my mind forever, is that BYU TCU game in 2006 when David Nixon comes across and just plows through the quarterback.
Jeff Ballard, he fumbles the ball.
BYU scoops it up. That was a really good win that season, but I love sacks. I can't believe he's saying that they don't matter.
I think, as he noted, though, like he'd take 50 sacks in a heartbeat. Last year, BYU had 30 sacks in 2025. The year before that, he referenced 2024. I think he just kind of misspoke. They had 20 sacks in 2024, 11 sacks in 2023, and that was the worst in the country in 2023. So it's been building. So the trends would suggest maybe they're due for 40 this year because they're climbing. But I think what's noteworthy about BYU's defense, and the points ultimately are the key. And I think back to his first stint, I talked about the convergence of eras. 2015, do you remember this game, Missouri, where they were causing havoc on Drew Lock? That was one of the worst offenses in college football, Missouri. But BYU gave up, I think it was 24 points, and they lost that game, even though they were creating pressure on Drew Lock and that terrible Missouri offense that barely practiced that week. BYU lost that game because they couldn't keep him out of the end zone. So it does come down to points. But I think what's been more even impactful than sacks the past 2 years has been takeaways. Think about this, Nate. 29 takeaways in 2024. BYU was third nationally in takeaways. They had 22 interceptions. That season, they had at least one INT every game that year in 2024, and then 7 fumble recoveries. And then last season, a little bit of a drop in the takeaway department, but still a high number. They were tied for 14th nationally with 24 takeaways, 17 picks, 7 fumble recoveries. I want it all, but I might take more takeaways than even sacks sometimes. But I do think this defense has got the ability to even improve off the 30-sack number, potentially.
Yeah, and they're really good at it's a really timely defense too. And last year they were number 6 in red zone defense and red zone touchdown defense, number 7 in interceptions, number 10 in defensive touchdowns. So it's a really well-rounded defense. The number I thought it was interesting too is him saying that he wants to keep opponents at 19 points or lower. Because I remember with Bronco, it was always 24.
Yes.
He wanted to keep teams at 24. So maybe a little more confidence in the offense than Bronco did. Do you think BYU can keep teams to 19 points or under this season?
I think they could. Yeah, I think they could. I think that's kind of what we've seen the past 2 years. I think they could do more of it because I think there's more depth on this defense than even the last 2 years. And I think the best defense that BYU's had in the Big 12 era was 2 years ago. I think 2024 was their best D. I think they can be even better than that this season. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll get to some more BYU football talk, and also you'll hear from Kevin Gilbride, BYU tight ends coach, next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.